in your pre Guns N' Roses days, you played with a lot of other bands. You paid your dues playing with other bands like Road Crew and Black Sheep.
How I can pick her out is so funny. Okay.
What were those days like? Who did you look up to? What were you trying to accomplish?
I was at that point, I just wanted, as soon as I could put three chords together properly, I wanted to start a band. So that's what I did. And anybody, I really looked up to anybody who had an electric guitar, an amplifier, and looked like that they were any semblance of professional. So anytime I go to the Troubadour and there was a band playing, before they even came on, I was in awe, just looking at the back line. So I was just trying to emulate a live production. And I was very serious about it. And all my peers in school that I played with, I was like a workaholic and they thought I was insane. Yeah. But I was just trying to put a band together that represented a real band and sound. I was really fascinated by the aesthetics of what a group meant,
Yeah. During that period, from what I understand, you spent some time playing in like a straight up funk band too, right?
In high school, there was a friend of mine named O'Donu who had a killer funk band, and also my cousins who live sort of in central LA. They were very gifted. One was a bass player and the other was a drummer, and that was all that they listened to, was like Funkadelic and the OJs and Cameo and shit like that. And so I picked up on that pretty early as well. Yeah.
I think one of the things that made GNR and all the other projects you've done special is, the rock bands you play with always tend to have like a great sense of swing to it, which is a hard thing. I mean, is that something that you learned through playing, do you think?
I think the music that I pick up on the most is the stuff that's the most rhythmic, the stuff that's the sexiest.
Yeah.
That's like, no, it's like the stuff that makes you want to do something. It's like fucking music or whatever. You needed to have like a sleazy groove to it. Which I think that's why songs like Last Child, when I first heard that kind of rhythm mixed with that sort of frenetic white noise, I was like, oh, this is too much.
Right. Well, rock and roll,
it's all about that. Yeah,
that's what it means.
I think people tend to forget about how important the rhythm is.
Yeah. Did you have any idea when you were first in Guns N' Roses started taking off that it would become such a big thing?
Yeah, I get asked that all the time. The key thing about Guns N' Roses was when the first day that we all five of us got into a room and actually started playing, there was a certain thing to it. There was a certain chemistry. We didn't know that, but it clicked, right? And so once we'd accomplished that, that was like 75% of the battle. And then everything from that point on was just us taking our own sort of very confident thing and doing it in front of people. And the more we did it, the better we got at it, and it was just a natural progression. But I never saw it, escalating to the point that it did, crossing over the way it did, and becoming it's almost an enigma now, because it's bigger now than it was when we were still together.
Do you almost wish that it hadn't blown up so big in a way?
I'm actually surprised it lasted as long as it did. No, I mean, I don't have any regrets about any of that, because it was all part of the whole thing. It was like we had high expectations of where we could probably go. We didn't know exactly what they were, but we kept forging ahead. So we forged ahead till we got to that point where it's like, now what?
Well, besides Guns N' Roses, you've played with a lot of other people. I mean, there's that side of you that has done sessions with Ray Charles and Rod Stewart, Michael Jackson, Iggy Pop, Bob Dylan. What about your playing that allows you to sort of adapt to all these different situations?
I think, let's see. The chance, I think I'm a way bigger fan of music than I am even a musician. So I'm always striving to to be as good as the things that I'm a fan of, you know, the stuff that I really like. And so I guess the first time I ever got a chance to go and play on somebody else's session, I was really, really flattered. And I learned a lot from it, and it was a real growing experience, you know, healthy experience. So whenever those things would pop up, I would jump at it. Sometimes I'd be really surprised. Like with Bob Dylan, I was like, why would you, what about me appeals to you? But that was more Don Was than anything, because Bob Dylan promptly took it off the record. Anyhow, but I think just getting to play with all these really great people that I admire and that I sort of aspiring to be, you know, as good as that one day. So to be able to go in and try and compliment whatever it is they're doing is a huge honor. So I like to do it as much as possible. It could be Michael Jackson to Motorhead, you know.
Right. It's sort of about also what they bring to you and how you can grow as a player.
Yeah, well, that's the big part of it, is that from every session that you do with those kind of guys, you learn to adapt to a new environment. Keeps you humble, for sure, you know. You can't walk in like the ace off the street when you're playing with some guys that play circles around you and do it very casually. And so you learn how to adapt to the way that they work. You learn to, especially like playing with somebody like Ray Charles, I had to play stuff that I'd never even... I mean, I would read chord charts. I had no idea what I was doing. And you grow, and it just makes you a better person. And you deal with all these great people, and you learn a lot about people and about musicians, and it's very grounding.
I mean, I think that's sort of important for all the musicians out here to sort of understand that it's good to throw yourself into, you know, you should have your band, you should have your bros, but you should also put yourself in different sorts of situations.
It's really healthy to work in different environments where you don't know everything, that you have to stretch your limitations.
Yeah, right on.
Hey.
I mean, what are the sorts of things that do you think? You've had such a long career now. What is that? One of the things that made you, I think, stand the test of time is.
You know, I don't look at the clock like that. I guess I have been doing this for a while, but it doesn't seem like it to me. And I just really fucking love doing it.
Yeah.
That's basically the bottom line. So any opportunity I get that I can go and play, be it with Velvet Revolver or be it with, worked with Alice Cooper, you know, whatever. I still just really love doing it. Yeah.
So, what's next? What are you working on now musically?
I think the first thing on the agenda is Velvet's still trying to find a singer, right? So that's one big thing. But because of the amount of time that I've had, you know, in doing that, is because we're not on the road, I've been putting together a solo record, which the solo record is all material that I've written, and then I've incorporated different vocalists. So a lot of these people are people I've worked with before that I had the chance to play on their record, so they're doing me the favor of working on mine. So that's been like my other main focus at this point.
So again, it's about the growth. It's about playing with other musicians, writing new things, challenging yourself.
Yeah, you can never learn enough.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be pushing daisies and I will not have reached my musical potential. You know.